Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank both of the nominees, and I'll start, Ms. Slater, with you, and then speak with you, Mr. Blanche, if that's okay. Ms. Slater, first of all, Julie Brill, who is a great Vermonter, was a FTC commissioner, thinks you're great. I think Julie Brill is great, so you've got something going for you, okay? Inflation is just a wicked challenge for everyday Vermonters trying to pay their bills. And it popped again today, twice as high as last month. My view is that the role that you would play would have a major impact on whether we can deal with the market consolidation that is allowing entities to have enormous amount of pricing power and abusing that pricing power at the expense of folks that all of us represent. So I just want to ask you a few questions about that. Healthcare, incredibly expensive. Private equity is now getting in healthcare, not to deliver services, but to monetize the profit, take it for shareholders, and not reinvest it in the healthcare system. I'm going to give an example. Stewart Healthcare in Massachusetts is a Catholic health care system with 6 hospitals. Private equity purchased Stewart in 2010. They bought it for the real estate, and they ran it into the ground. It goes out of business. And moms who thought they had an appointment to take care of their sick child suddenly found out the hospital's closed. And those guys got out of town. Stewart just wrecked it. That's my view. What's the role of private equity in healthcare when they don't reinvest? They just squeeze and turn it into a real estate play and then leave high and dry a lot of folks in rural areas who want to get healthcare.
Thanks, Senator. I agree with you that healthcare markets are crucial markets for an antitrust standpoint, and I do commit to keeping a close eye to the extent that the DOJ has jurisdiction.
Please do that. We've got to have the healthcare system be about healthcare, not enriching Wall Street, all right? Ag, that's a big deal for us in Vermont. We got farmers. They love nothing more than working the land to try to feed Vermonters and feed Americans. Incredible consolidation. 6 grocery store chains have 65%, 83% of milk sales with 3 companies. Poultry at 60%. For beef, it's between 80 and 85%. Do you see the consolidation in the agriculture industry and the food processing industry as something that is a factor in increasing prices so that people have sticker shock when they check out at the grocery line?
Well, there are many variables that go into pricing, but competition or lack of competition is certainly one of them.
All right, so you'll stay on that. I appreciate that. Mr. Blanche, look, you're a qualified guy. I am amazed at your story. You started out with nothing. You didn't go to the Ivy League schools, and you ended up with this extraordinary career at major law firms who in years past would have never looked at a guy like you, and I know your wife helped you a lot, so there's so much to admire. And by the way, I was a public defender. I defended bad people. I got assigned to those cases. And I assume that you respect the fact that I took the assignment.
Absolutely.
It would never hold it against a public defender that they were defending in the court of law a person who was accused of a serious crime, right?
I would not.
Right, and my view on the FBI is it's the same thing. I support the FBI. I so admire those folks, the men and women. And if an FBI agent, I'm a worker there, and I get assigned to a case by my boss, is there any reason in the world that I should pay a price because I did my job as assigned?
No, and I don't think that that's what's happening. I'm not there. I see the same memos, read the same articles, but I don't think that that's what's happening.
I know you weren't there, but let me just ask you, we have got to stand up for those folks. And you're going to have a major job. And my hope, I don't want to get in an argument, I respect you a lot, but my hope is you're going to defend the men and women at the FBI who just did their job.
The men and women of the FBI that just did their job, of course, absolutely.
All right, and getting assigned to a case is one. Another thing, you were in the Southern District. You know, I was a young lawyer, and I remember looking around for jobs. I worked for, I noticed some of the places you worked, kind of fancy. But there's nothing better than the Southern District, right? That's the crown jewel of the federal prosecution, right? And hasn't it been the tradition in the Southern District, and actually in the whole U.S. Attorney system, that there's independence in those local offices? You know, there's a chain of command, but there's a lot of independence, correct?
Well, I agree with what you said. There's a chain of command and there is independence, yes.
All right. So what I just saw with the dismissal of the Adams charge, that was directed by D.C., correct? This is Mayor Adams.
I have the same information you have. It appears it was, yes.
That's right.
I don't know, beyond what I've
See, this is the concern that all of us have. We're hearing from our colleagues about weaponization, and we heard from you in the experience you had with President Trump. On our side, it's like an effort to erase something that really happened. That was January 6th. And the apprehension that a lot of us have is that the issue here of lawfare and weaponization is just still continuing, where you have the president saying, my Justice Department, and he's telling this basically through his agents, telling, let's dismiss the corruption charge against the mayor of New York City. So I just want to put that out there to let you know there's good faith concern here on both sides about this use of the term weaponization and the use of the term lawfare. And I don't know if I have time, Mr. Chairman, for one other question. Mr. Chairman, I just didn't know if I had time for one more question. I just wanted to ask Mr. Blanche, when he goes on that triathlon, I guess you went with you and your father-in-law?
No, my daddy's right there.
Your father? All right. The next
It was a full Ironman, Senator.
All right. The next time you go, the only person up on the dais who can join you is Senator Grassley. I yield back.
Fair enough.